Right.
So it was Arn and Barry against Doom, or it was me and Arn against Doom, and a better tag team was Barry and Arn, which I'll give them credit for all day long. And by the way, Barry's having bad health issues right now, as you know.
Have you talked to Barry or anyone in his
I
family?
have not, but I'm going to go see him this afternoon. I just
Oh
found out
wow.
about it last night. He had a massive heart attack.
And he's in Atlanta, right?
No, I think he's in Tampa.
Oh, okay.
Actually, Joe Gomez is finding out right now.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
either in Tampa or Orlando.
Well, I know that as the way I understood it, I think he had the heart attack in Atlanta, but hopefully he's been moved. That would be great if he was back.
Oh, he had it in Atlanta.
Here,
Actually, I didn't. How I didn't hear about that? I have no idea.
it actually happened on Friday, but I don't think it came out until Monday. Um,
I just heard it last night. My God, no,
it's
it's just terrifying. I mean, he's one of the greatest talents that ever. It's a name that just seems to get forgotten because Barry just kind of dropped off the face of the earth, did his own thing, didn't really care, and but as far as talent, man, I can't think of too many guys with as much all around talent as him. Really, in I'm talking about a lifetime, and I'm sorry that I don't drop his name more often when we're talking about great wrestlers because he was great, as was Arn, and they were that night a much better team than me. I never was a really good tag team wrestler, but that's probably because I spent 99% of my career as a single. So I took one for the team, and Barry and Arn went out and stole it with Doom.
I want to recommend everybody go out
Ru-
of their way to see Barry Windham versus Ric Flair if you haven't already. It's from Battle of the Belts 2. They wrestled several times, but Battle of the Belts 2, which was on Valentine's Day, 1986, which coincidentally is the day you debuted the big gold belt, was one of maybe, if not the best hour of wrestling on television that Dave Meltzer ever saw. That's the way he described it when he talked about the match. It's the best 1 hour of wrestling television in America of all time, maybe the best. And he even called it one of the best of the decade. And it's maybe off the beaten path because it happened in Florida. It didn't happen for Jim Crockett Promotions or the NWA or WWE or whatever you want to call it. Go out of your way. Battle of the Belts 2, Valentine's Day, 1986. What do you think made Barry such a special in-ring performer? We hear people throw around terms like timing, and he was a natural, and he was always in the right place at the right time.
well, he was
What
six
is it
foot
about
six.
Barry?
He was 6'6", and I remember going to watch Barry. Well, number one, his dad is Blackjack Mulligan, so he grew up in a wrestling family, and Jack and I were best friends, and Jack and I lived next door to each other. So I watched Barry grow up. I went and watched him play football in high school, and he just we don't know one of those guys that was just such a natural. It's like a lot of people don't realize this, but Lawrence Taylor did not work out. You know that?
No, I did not know that.
He didn't live. I mean, he didn't spend his day in the weight room.
Right.
He worked out obviously, but he didn't spend his life in the weight room. Just so much natural ability, and Barry was the same way. Barry could drink all night, drive a car 130 miles an hour, which he liked to do, wrestle all night, and get up and do it the next day. I mean, he was that good an athlete, that good a performer, and like I said, that night with Arn, they stole this. They stole it. They absolutely did. And by that mean, I will say this: Sting did not steal the show by any means, but I'm never the shits. The Black Scorpion might be the shits, but I am never the shits.
I would agree with that. I think everybody agrees with that. If you haven't already, go check out Barry Windham's
and
GoFundMe.
and like I said, ask Shivani what that night was like in a hotel after me being in that box for 5 hours waiting to pop out. Good Lord. Dick the Bruiser rolled over in his grave that day.
Go look for Barry Windham's GoFundMe if you haven't already. You can just go to GoFundMe.com, type in Barry Windham. Unfortunately, when Barry had this heart attack this past Friday, he did not have medical insurance. So he's got a long road to recovery, and we're certainly pulling for him. And thoughts and prayers certainly count, and we need those prayer warriors out there to make sure that he pulls through and is much better off on the other side. But even if he is, he's apparently going to have a mountain of bills, and man, that's something he shouldn't have to worry about. So, type in
No.
GoFundMe.com in your browser and just look for Barry Windham, and you'll see right there the donation to or the Barry Windham's GoFundMe. And Rick, man, you know a thing or two about medical bills. You had quite a scare just over 5 years ago, and you've told me privately before that hey, you had coverage to a point, but after that, you were kind of out of pocket, right?
Well, I had Medicare, and it only had I had Plan A, not Plan B, and Plan A only went to and that went but 8 or 900,000, and my hospital bills were 1.3 million.
Wow.
And knowing that I had to go back in, you certainly got to pay the hospital and the doctors. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just we dug it out. We had to, but I had to go back in and have 4 more surgeries, as you know. I think Megan was there for almost all of them for the heart surgeries, and um, then I had to go in for the big one, which was reversal on the stoma, which they waited about a year for it to happen, right? And they just wanted to give it more time to heal. And I told you the story. First day went by, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. Doctor comes in, pokes me in the stomach, said, soon, soon. On the ninth day, he told Wendy, unbeknownst to me, if it doesn't work in the morning, then we're going to have to put the bag back on. So Wendy didn't tell me. I'll be damned if I don't wake up in the morning on the 10th day and it worked.
Wow.
So every time I count my blessings, I can't count them enough.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I mean, absolutely too much. I'm the luckiest son of a bitch alive.
Well, nobody's going to argue that. Speaking of luck, you had some good luck. But at the start of the show, when we're talking about all the matches you had in St. Louis, I thought, I can't imagine you and Gene Kaniski. I mean, that's old school. So I looked it up, and it was April 30th, 1982.
Yeah,
And it was for the NWA heavyweight title. Of
yeah,
course, this would have been your first run when you didn't think you
yeah.
were quite ready at the Kiel Auditorium in St. Louis. 2 out of 3 falls.
Big Thunder. That's what they called him, Gene Kaniski.
I mean, 6'4", 271 pounds, from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I mean, I've never seen that match, obviously, but it's just hard for me to imagine those styles. But man, you had to do that with everybody, right?
Oh God, I'll tell you what he did. The giant swing was one of those moves, and the St. Louis ring was bigger, as you know, than any other ring anyway. And the giant swing is where you put someone's like Cesaro does, right?
Yes, yes.
And he threw me across the ring, this huge ring, and he ran and jumped on top of me. And this is the way the old timers talk. He said, "Leg scissors, you dumbass." Now I'm the champion.
Right.
Like I didn't know what he was talking about. He was a machine, man. You talk about a guy that could go, though. My God. No, I mean I wrestled them all. That's where sometimes it's not. It's not just a joke. It's serious stuff. When I talk about how embarrassing going back to that stupid thing with Jim Herd and the Scorpion thing. That Woolley and Jim Herd, man. I mean, to this day, what were they thinking about?
Yeah, it's a crazy
Str-
time in the business for sure. But you had some fun.